Hi, good afternoon, all. I am Deepti Mudgal, and I have been a biology educator since last 2 decades. So I have dedicated my life and I have a passion for biology. And my students and I, they work together as a team, and we just enjoy biology. We are not into just a textbook learning, but I make sure that biology as a subject gets inculcated and they make most of it for their future professional purposes. So the topic for today, which I am going to discuss, is cultivating critical thinking in biology. Okay, so all of you know one thing. As you can see, that cultivating critical thinking in biology, what does it mean? See, we live in an era of information. And if we see the progress of human evolution, so we have evolved slowly from an ancient human being to a modern human being. And what I think that science is one of the most powerful thing which has been gifted by God to human being. We can explore science to every level, and we can also, just a second, we can explore science to every level, and it's like taking out layer out of layer and getting surprised every time. So as a science student and being a science teacher, it's my duty that the students, they should cultivate critical thinking, not just memorizing the dates, not just memorizing the concepts in biology. So today I'm going to discuss about all these things. So I hope all of you will be enjoying this session with me. So, cultivating critical thinking in biology. Biology is the science of life. It is the science in which we study about plants, animals, microorganisms, and nowadays biology is much more beyond its scope. That means, what are we doing? We are exploring the new era in which we are like taking out the things which were once like uh, impossible to crack. We are going into the genetic medicines, we are going into the CRISPR Cas techniques, we are solving so many things. So, we are not just making the students ready to be a professional degree holder, we are making them future scientists. So, let us see what we all will be doing this. Okay. So, first thing is from rote memorization to scientific inquiry. So, in biology, is memorization the only thing we have to do? No. We have to make a scientific inquiry if we are studying a topic. And why this is very important. Like, let us take the case of Mendel. Everyone must have heard about Mendel. Mendel is also known as the father of modern genetics. Father of modern genetics. Now, why I am discussing Mendel over here? So, Mendel was a mathematician and he was like working on pea plants. If he was cultivating some pea plants, me as a normal human being or any normal human being, what we are going to do? We are going to cultivate the pea plants, we are going to harvest the crop, we are going to prepare the uh, curry, matar paneer, aloo matar, etc. And that's it. But what did Mendel do? Mendel observed something. Mendel observed that the pea plants were showing some variations. Like some pea plants were tall and some pea plants were dwarf. He didn't find any medium sized pea plant. Then he saw that some flowers were growing on the tip of the pea plant, and some were growing on the axial side of the pea plant. But none other position was there. So he noticed so many characters which were like one was opposite to other, but there was no intermediate characters. And from there, he laid the foundation of genetics. He worked on pea plant. He created uh, the famous Mendelian crosses, the monohybrid cross, the dihybrid cross. Why? Because he had the question why in his mind. He wanted to inquire that why these pea plants are tall and dwarf only, why there is no medium sized plant. So, this scientific inquiry has to be inculcated in the minds of the students, not just letting them memorize, okay, just learn this is a tall plant, this is a dwarf plant, and that's it. No, you should inculcate the habit of why, how in your students. Then only they will deep dive into the subject. They will understand it properly, scientifically, and then they can create or they can invent or they can discover so many things which we can't even think in future. So from rote memorization to scientific inquiry, this is the one of the important shift which have to be done in our education purposes. Next thing is the imperative for change. The imperative for change means that moving from information consumption to skill synthesis. Now, this is very important, very important. Information consumption. Nowadays, it is the time of social media, and we are getting so many like articles, we are getting so many reels, we are getting so many posts which are like telling us something or other. Hmm? But you are just reading it and believing it. Is this the way? No. You should have the sufficient skills that you can recognize that the information which is given to you, which is provided to you, is it true? Is it false? Is it misleading? Or is it scientifically hypothesized? Is it like actually being done? Is it actually being practiced? So the student should not be like made for only information consumption. He should have the proper skills after going into a subject that he can immediately see the difference between the true and the false information. So this is one of the important change which should be there. In the earlier times, like 2 to 3 decades ago, uh, in our times also, the students used to memorize the questions, they used to write the questions, answers, and they used to get the marks. But nowadays, no, this is not the right way to make a student learn. You should improve their skills, the practical skills, the thinking skills, the analytical skills. And this is like the most important thing a science teacher can do for their students. Okay, you can see a slide over here which shows the skills first economy. See, if we see that industry stakeholders and higher education provost, they agree that critical thinking is the single most important skill for biology graduates, outperforming specific major content by a significant margin. The next generation of biologists must be skeptics, evaluators, and problem solvers, not just memorizers. Okay, let me tell you one very, very interesting thing that the next 10 years, they are going to be. a golden time for the students who have opted for biology. Biology will be the ruling science in the next 10 years. Almost each and everything is coming and converging into the field of biology. See, there was a time when the skills of having the knowledge of computers, and you were taking non-medical, and the IITians, they were very famous, right? But nowadays, reading biology is not only just becoming a doctor or a medical professionalist. We have thousands and thousands of various branches which are working directly or indirectly in association with the biology and biological concepts. You can see that 81% market demand is there for the biology students. So, which students will be preferred? See, if we take example of a normal student, okay, so let us take example of a normal student, and she opts for medical. She completes her plus one, she completes her plus two, then she goes for a degree in zoology or botany, the basic biology branches, and then she completes her MSc, and then she goes for a teaching thing, and that's all. But what if she selects a professional degree, something which is related to like scientific experimentation, which is related to some actual scientific practical work which can give results in the benefit of the society? What if she discovers, if she works on a medicine or a vaccine which can cure some diseases which are like now known as incurable, but later on she can cure them with her scientific skills and knowledge. So this is the thing that we have to inculcate properly in our students. So not just biology graduates we are making them as the future scientists. We are making the next generation of biologists as the evaluators. They are actually working. They are actually doing the experiments. They are actually discovering new things. And when will it happen? Only then, when the teacher is like making them aware of all the recent changes, not just confined in the textbooks, right? So, this is the skills first economy. Next thing is the knowledge thinking divide. Very, very interesting part. If we see and compare a traditional rote learning and a critical inquiry mindset, so let us see the differences. Let us assume some students who are like doing the traditional rote learning courses and some students who are moving into the critical inquiry mindset learning programs. So traditional rote learning, it focuses on the recall and static definitions. So you have something printed in your textbooks. You have some work uh, printed in your books, which has been already done by some scientists in the previous years. And you are just recalling them and you are just making the static definitions of them, right? So you are like disconnected from the real world utility, right? And this thing, if a teacher is like going, opening the book and asking the students to underline the important things and go and learn them, and these are the questions and these are the answers and you will be getting marks for these, so this will make lower student engagement. Student will not be motivated in the class, and he or she will feel like it's a boring subject, because and he cannot even retain the things after 2 to 3 years, because we have just done the rote learning. So such students will have limited ability to handle the anomalies. But what if critical inquiry mindset? So I will give you one example, the recent example. See, we have a very interesting topic in genetics, which is known as central dogma. We have a very interesting topic called central dogma. Central dogma of molecular biology, we have been learning till now. It is saying that DNA forms RNA and RNA forms proteins. Proteins. The first central dogma was given by a very renowned scientist known as Crick. And when Crick first made the central dogma, he told the world that the central dogma is irreversible. It is showing a unidirectional flow of information. That means DNA to RNA, RNA to proteins. And these informations cannot be reversed back. This was told by Crick. So the first person who formulated the central dogma was Crick. And what was his findings? He said that the central dogma is unidirectional. Unidirectional, right? So if everyone had agreed that yes, central dogma is unidirectional and we have to just learn this and it's over, then what would have happened? Till now, we must have been learning the thing central dogma is unidirectional. But later on, few scientists, they were working on some viruses. They came and they saw that viruses have certain enzymes which can convert RNA back into DNA. So there came two more scientists known as Temin and Baltimore. Temin and Baltimore. And their findings told us that central dogma was reversible. From which point? That RNA can also synthesize DNA in certain special cases. Right? So, if Tamin and Baltimore, they have been into the rote traditional learning and they have not worked on the central dogma further, they have not analyzed the things further, will this finding would be there? No. So Tamin and Baltimore, they told us about the central dogma reverse, where RNA was able to form DNA, right? Now, it had been a long time, many decades passed, and we also as a student learned about the central dogma reversed. We were also teaching our student about the central dogma reversed. And yes, there are very, very, very few students who are into the research work and who are taking the thing seriously as Crick, Tamin and Baltimore had done. So recently, just I think so few days back, there has been a revolutionary news that proteins can also synthesize DNA. Can you imagine? Which was like next to impossible thing. So the recent news which has appeared now is that proteins can also synthesize DNA. And this thing has opened the doors for so many impossible things, for so many, like the things which we used to think that these cannot be cured, this cannot be made, and this is like impossible, next to impossible. This thing has opened the door. So, a a group of scientists who actually worked one step ahead of Tamin and Baltimore concept, of Crick concept. They discovered that proteins can also now synthesize DNA. What if that they had also learned the same thing? Right? So, what is the importance of the critical inquiry mindset? This is the importance. And the role of your guide, the role of your educator is very, very important in this. So, critical inquiry mindset, it focuses on the data analysis, it focuses on the evidences, contextualized learning via exercise, and high student agencies and curiosity and evolving evaluate criteria for the students. Like, you will actually work, you will go, you will spend your time, you will burn your lamps in the lab, you will go for it, है ना? Then you will be getting the marks. And this is the right type of study which should be there in your biology, in your science field. Now, let us take an example of the misinformation crisis. So, we all know that there was a very difficult time when COVID-19 spread across the globe. So, there is a lesson from COVID-19. See, during the pandemic, if we see, the world witnessed a parallel epidemic of misinformation. Students with high content knowledge but low critical thinking were vulnerable to pseudoscience. See, one, I am talking about a normal human being. Obviously, he is prone, है ना? He is the easy target for the misinformation. So somebody is saying you that corona is spreading by this mean, that mean corona will do this and that to you. And a person, he is not of a scientific background, he will like believe on whatever you are spreading in the form of some post or some social media, like anything. So he is an easy target. Let us leave them. They are not science students. So this is not like their fault. But what if a student of science and he is sharing some post which is like absolutely not related with the basic concept of COVID-19, and he is spreading the post further, and he is also like having low critical thinking about it, and he is not able to distinguish that what he has learned and what is now actually happening. So this is called pseudoscience, that what he has learned earlier, he is like relying on that rote learning, and he is not using his mind, he is not making the use of his analytical skills, and he is only learning the things or just spreading the information further. Okay, so this is very, very like unfortunate situation if a student is groomed like this. So I saw students struggle to differentiate between the peer reviewed data and the viral myths. This proved that knowing biology isn't enough. One must evaluate it. You should know what is coronavirus. Okay. So coronavirus was nothing new. It just mutated to a more dangerous form. Right? Coronavirus, it used to live in our throat earlier also, but it just mutated. Okay, it mutated. Was it a natural mutation? Was it changing its glycoprotein cover time to time? It was becoming more dangerous, or it was like suppressed by nature. So this should be like thoroughly clear to a science student. And this is the difference you will find if a student is made to learn the subject along with the critical thinking, along with the analysis, along with the proper conceptual clarity. Moving on to the next slide, inquiry based learning. So inquiry based learning, like a student reasoning. Okay, I have so many students over there. So we were working uh, on some project, and it was like he was working on a project that all of you must be knowing about rajma, the kidney beans. So rajma are a rich source of proteins, and one of the major things that what rajma does is that whenever we consume rajma, most of its protein is not absorbed by our intestine. Okay, so he was working on something that how much protein is being absorbed by the intestine and all that. So we were like working on this, and then we found something. We found that rajma, or the kidney beans, they are having some things known as phytotoxins along with them. And if we are improperly cooking a rajma, they will never ever be absorbed. Their nutritional properties will never ever be absorbed in your intestine, but your intestine will show something which is not good for your health. Okay, so you can very well correlate that what happens after eating rajma which are not like properly cooked. So what we find out, that in some countries like China, in USA, what they do, they just ferment the rajma before cooking with curd. Curd is having lactobacillus. Lactobacillus eats up all those phytotoxins. And then, when you are cooking the rajma again, then all the proteins, all the useful nutrients present in rajma, they are like easily absorbed by your intestine, and you are getting the maximum benefit. So how did we came to this conclusion? This was new for us also. So we are, as a teacher also, we are learning so many things from our students findings also. So this is called inquiry based learning. So questions, why, how, and what else, so these should be there in a student's mind. So, by presenting the contradictory evidences, anomalies, we can force students to question established evaluate criteria, transform their understanding of biological mechanisms, apply empirical knowledge to solve novel problems. Right? So, inquiry based learning is very, 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 very important. Next thing, if you see the evolution of biology education, so you can see a graph over here. Okay, so this is some 1990s time, this is some 2010 time, and this is 2026 time. So this is a 1990s time where the student was like mostly dependent on the books. There were not many sources available, and content focus was more. And then after the discovery of like Google, and actually the implementation of all these things, and the bioinformatics scope being growing, human genome project being discovered, so many new discoveries being presented in front of you. In 2010, skill integration was like incorporated in the students through the schools or the educational platforms. But in 2026, a student will be successful only and only if he is doing critical inquiry. He will be in a professional field only if he is a critical thinker, only if he is a analytical mind student. So they will not see that how much textbook content you are learning, right? They will see that how you can solve a problem, how can you go for a new discovery, or how can you work on a already established thing and give us new ways to improvise it. So this is the evolution of biology education.
Miss Deepti,
Yeah,
Hello, ma'am. We are running out of time. Like
but
it's already
yeah,
after.
just 2 minutes more.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the three pillars of biological cafe are that analytical literacy, ethical reasoning, and systems thinking. So, like teaching students to dissect scientific literature and evaluate the reliability of sources against pseudoscience, navigating the complex landscapes, bioethics, and connecting classroom theory to local conservation and global environmental changes. So, defining the mindset. How can we define the mindset of the students? Asking how do we know this, analyzing the raw data to identify anomalies, and connecting the molecular biology processes to the global socio-scientific issues. So we should tell them that this is your field and you can contribute to the society by your findings and inquiries. Okay. So in my 20 years of teaching, the most common hurdle for the students is like the application gap. And through my teaching, I focus on digital mentorship that transforms complex pathways into the interactive logic puzzles. So it's not just a class, it's a mental laboratory where the inquiry is the primary currency. So we can also make the students learn about the bioethics and ecology and conservation, because this is the most hot topic. We have to conserve our ecology, we have to conserve our biodiversity, otherwise we will be in the danger. So what is the power of inquiry? It is like 2.5 times higher retention, and this is the closing point of my talk, that science is more than a body of knowledge. It is a way of thinking. This is our bridge to future. So thank you all for listening so patiently. I hope I was able to impart my ideas, my views to all of you. So thank you so much, all.
Thank you, Miss Deepti. If you can stop sharing your screen, ma'am.
Yeah,
I
sure.
have a better view of you. Thank you. We have two participants, Miss Aishwarya and Mr. Sandeep.
Yeah.
Nirmal was also there for a while and I think he left.
Okay.
Any questions, Miss Aishwarya and Mr. Sandeep? You can unmute yourselves and ask the questions. Any questions? Okay. So, ma'am, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
What inspired this teaching philosophy shift, ma'am?
See, I was inspired by my teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a great luck of having so many good teachers associated with me. So when I was like doing my graduation, my zoology teacher told me that you are learning this animal kingdom over here, but some of the students, they are actually visiting the tropical rainforest and they are seeing the rattlesnake by their eyes. So I was like, oh wow, this is such an interesting thing, that why we are just cramming the books, why we are not just going and visualizing the things with our eye. Then during my post graduation and my research programs also, I got to have great mentors. They inculcated these things in me, so I'm like really really grateful to my mentors because they inculcated these thoughts in me, and I'm imparting this to my students.
Great inspiration, Miss Deepti. Miss Aishwarya has a question. What can we do to be more aware of new scientific discoveries and developments?
Yeah, this is a very great question. So just come out of the textbooks, and I always tell my students to be associated with some good scientific journals. So there are certain reputed scientific journals like Science, Nature. Then we have so many scientific societies. You, as a student, as a graduation student, post graduation student, research student, you should develop your own community. Okay, like LinkedIn is a very good platform. Then there are so many good scientific platform where you can be associated with a good scientific community. And From there you can get the latest things, and you can also share your ideas with them. So like this, what I think, that the social media has been a boon for us.
Right.
So be aware, just get out of the textbooks and just go, just see the things which are actually happening, because what we are studying in the textbooks, the world is ahead 10 years, 15 years from them. So be aware.
Right, ma'am. Especially the science subjects, especially
Exactly.
biology, we are so used to rote learning.
Yeah.
What challenges do you face implementing this approach?
Yeah. So many a times the parents, they are like worried about the numbers. Okay, what will be the scores of my child, and like this. But thankfully, many students which are associated with me, they are into like why and how, and they are also sharing. See, I'm very friendly with my students. I never teach them like, okay, just learn this and why you are not getting your numbers and your grades, why. No, I keep on asking questions with them. I also welcome them to share their thoughts on a topic which we are discussing. I always ask them, what do you think about this? Do you think this can be like presented in some other way? Or what will happen if this thing is occurring in this way? So, like this, it can be made a student friendly approach. So the teacher, the guide, it, he or she has to be on the same frequency with the student. Not that we are on another level and student is on another level. And for me, one of the important thing which I tell my students, and one of the most challenging aspect, is that how to make them from an average learner to a explorer. So this is the greatest challenge. And yes, I have been successful. So not only making them aware about our biodiversity conservation or some important, see, you should tell a student that what is your aim in life, what are you doing on this earth, what will you give the society, what benefit you will give the society if you have opted for a subject like science. So yes, they understand. And today's generation is very, very intellectual, and they are having a great and great analytical thinking skills.
Mr. Sandeep has a question too.
Yeah, sure.
This is the digital era, and how is AI supporting or can support the students eager to build career in biology?
Yeah, I find AI the best friend of a critical thinker. Okay, so you have certain things in your mind, and in earlier times we have to go to the library, we have to go and search for certain books, then we have to make the notes. But now, just go to the AI, ask the question, it will tell you so many options, the recent discoveries, make your notes there and then you can analyze various aspects. So AI is, if it is used in a good way, AI is like, well, it's marvelous, it's excellent, it is the best friend. So you should not be like fully dependent on AI. You should take the pointers, then you should analyze them, and then you should work on it.
Right. So, ma'am, how do you balance curriculum requirements with inquiry based learning?
Yeah, so I have like formulated certain course. uh, See, if there is a full book you have to read, and there are certain chapters that one we are doing in another time, one we are doing in another time, but they are like connected to each other. So first thing what I do is that I connect all the points, I compile them, I make short notes, I make the important pointers, I highlight the important things which a student should go and work on. And this makes our work smart work. it is less time consuming, and obviously a child is doing the things not like quantitatively but qualitatively. The quality study, the smart study, this is my aim. You should do smart work. I am never ever in the favor that a child should be studying like 12 hours a day, he should like compile up so many notes, and no, this is the era of AI, as Sandeep
Right.
talked about. And you should be smart enough. See, AI is so fast. How can you lag behind in memorizing or doing research for 5 years? No. What do I think? That you should be also trained enough to complete this much work in this time, and more efficiently, more smartly, and in a proper, concise way. It's like hitting the bullseye.
Right, ma'am. So, what practical lab exercises best develop critical thinking, Miss Deepti?
See, lab visiting is like very, very important until and unless you are doing the techniques yourself, and just like you are memorizing them from the book, so they are of no use. For example, PCR technique. So if you have not seen a PCR machine, how can you imagine even that what is happening in PCR? Centrifugations, electrophoresis, spectrophotometer, okay, laminar airflow. You are visualizing DNA under a UV lamp by using ethidium bromide dye. So I think whenever you are doing a thing with your hands, whenever you are doing something practically, it is in your permanent memory. You can never ever forget it. And obviously, while doing the things practically, you learn and you can decipher so many more things which are like hidden or which are like not there in the textbook also. So yes, practical aspect is very, very important, and it needs a good guide.
You're a great educator, very explains very well and in depth. I'm sure your students have fallen in love with biology, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
what did you notice, Miss Deepti, in your with your experience? What career paths do your students typically pursue?
See, most of my students, they are well-known doctors now. So I have been teaching since 2 decades.
Wow.
So the first batch I taught were, so they are like scientists. Some are in Germany. Some are like head of the departments of reputed universities. Some are like great doctors. And so many are there in pharma industry, research fields. Yes, and I will also like to tell you that two of my students, they are also working in the Discovery Channel, and they are into the field of ecology. I can bet no one in India must have heard that what is an taxonomist.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And we need taxonomists because there is so much biodiversity still to be explored. So
Mhm.
just while teaching ecology, I always boost the student that do at least one thing in the favor of biodiversity. Start it from home. Just you can start doing it from just separating the dustbins, uh,
Right.
like right, and
Right.
students become so inspired that they opt for ecology. So many students, they are working in the field of ecology, and some are also like working in the channels, and they are actually going to the tropical rainforest to see the rattlesnakes.
Great. Miss
Yeah.
Aishwarya agrees with you. She said yes. So to end the session, ma'am, I'm thoroughly enjoying the session, but because of the time constraint, I will end the session with the last question.
Yeah.
How has your approach evolved over 2 decades of teaching?
Yes. Like we have been born in an era where like there has been rapid changes, right?
Yes.
So I remember the things that when we were in MSc, so we have to go to the library, we have to search for the books, and our seniors, they were taking hold of all the books, and we were not getting any books, and we were like sitting sadly from where we will prepare our notes and the presentations. But now you can see there are so many options available. And I was talking about the scientific community. So if you are like associated with a good scientific community, you're going, you are meeting people of different like scientific levels, like you are participating in competitions, you are going for scientific exhibitions. So it is like a wide door which has opened from the last 2 decades, huh? And it has made the things easy, it has made the things interesting. And as I was saying, that the mind of this generation is superb, superb. So what we could not think, they can think, they can analyze, and they are born with this critical thinking because they are the future builders. So we are making the future builders with this approach. So I am like thoroughly enjoying my journey.
Great, ma'am. Thank you so much, Ms. Deepti Mudgal, for that insightful and thought-provoking presentation. We truly appreciate you sharing your expertise on our platform today, ma'am. I would also like to thank Ms. Aishwarya and Mr. Sandeep for joining us and for your engaging questions. Anything else you want to mention, Ms. Deepti, before I end the session?
Uh, it was like a wonderful session, and I hope you all enjoyed. I just wanted to take my heart out, and I just want that the study, the field of biology, the field of science, it should be made so interesting that more and more students opt for it. They should not take it as burden. They should take it as like, oh, it's like a game. It's like we are going to explore something. So this is my dream, and I hope that God will make me successful if
You
He's
will.
blessing me with this good students like I am always blessed with.
You will. You will. Thank you so much and have a great weekend. I'll end this.
Thank you so much for giving me this platform.
Thank you.
Thank you.